My name's Jay Armstrong. I'm a former student of Kumon and now I'm an independent games developer, and I've been doing it for about 2.5 years. I started this really kind of by accident. I've always sort of been interested in doing creative things, and I used to play a lot of music, and I do a lot of drawing, and so I kind of found out that if I did a bit of drawing that could turn into some animation, and then I learned that if I add a bit of code to that animation, suddenly you're controlling your creation, something that you've just drawn yourself, and before you know it, it's alive, and you're competing with it, and that really captured my imagination. And so I just kind of kept working at that, and I made my first one and found out that you could actually sell these things or get sponsorship. And so when I did that, I managed to kind of contact some people. They said, hey, this is really cool. We worked something out, and from that point on I was hooked. I did another one. Before I knew it, it was more enjoyable, and I was just having a better time doing it than my current day job. And so I just took the decision to do it full time. I think I enrolled in Kumon when I was around the age of 11. It was my parents' idea. I was very slow to start reading, and I struggled with some basic maths. The problem was that I'd gone to a primary school that was a little bit free thinking. So you wouldn't get grades, you'd get kind of smiley faces. They weren't particularly strict on helping you with the basic foundations of reading and mathematics. So when I turned up at secondary school, I didn't have a lot of the basics that a lot of the other kids did. So my parents somehow found out about Kumon, and they enrolled me, and I went once or twice a week, and I did the mathematics, and I found that before I knew it, I'd kind of shot up into some of the top classes. So aside from the skills in mathematics itself, having to do that homework every day was amazingly beneficial. You got into the routine of coming home, you had to get it done. It was just part of your day. And when I'd stay at friends' houses, they wouldn't have that. They wouldn't have the discipline, they wouldn't have the homework done in time. And having that regular commitment definitely instills some sense of discipline in you that has kind of steered me well for the rest of my life, which has been really beneficial. I think at the time I definitely didn't realise how important it would be, because when you're doing it, you're also at school, and so nothing exists outside of school or past school. It's really hard to think so long term. I would definitely say it gave me the skills of individual learning and discipline, and without those there's no way I would have been able to do what I do now, because I'm completely self-taught, and the way I learnt was by just drawing a lot and figuring out how to program by doing sort of individual study. So for what I do, maths is absolutely integral to it. So we've got a game here, and it's 2D. It's basically on a two-dimensional grid. So you have X and you have Y, and if you have something like a bullet firing, you need to know the original rotation, and then you need to be able to know on each iteration, if you have a speed and a rotation, where will it be on the next frame? And so it's completely integral to everything you do. So I definitely wouldn't have realised that I'd be making games using maths when I was a 12-year-old. So here you have the code to a bullet in one of my games. Nothing happens in the game unless you specifically tell it to. And so to do that, you have to give it an instruction on each update event. These happen 32 times a second. So the bullet doesn't move by itself, you need to use maths to tell it where to go. So you have the X position and the Y position, which is kind of how far along it is, how far up it is on a grid, two-dimensional grid. And you need to use things like trigonometry to tell it where to be on the next update. So you create the illusion of movement. So the cool thing about this job is there's no average day. Some days I'll be drawing all day, sometimes I might do it for 10 minutes. Some days I might be staring at walls at code, banging my head against the wall. Sometimes things just happen straight away. So every day has a new challenge. One of the exciting things about what I do is that technology is always changing. And so you need to stay on top of that. And to do that, you need to be researching, and you need to be learning new skills every day. So recently I created a game called Barbarians that's surpassed 10 million plays, which is pretty good for a Flash game, but you can get even more. But I did some calculation, and the average playtime is 15 minutes, and so 10 million times 15 minutes works out to be about 285 years of human playing time, which kind of blew my mind. And it's quite nice to know that you're able to sort of impact an amount of time that you'll never have yourself. The end result was that I feel confident in the principles I learned in Kumon. Self-discipline and determination will get you the results, And I've used those skills to become self-employed and become an independent game developer, work for myself and be creative for a living, which I absolutely love.